Hey guys, it's Remy from Bahama Llama Coral. We are back at Aquashella, Chicago 2021, and things are exciting around here. I'm here with my buddy Scott Crowe
Hello,
from
friends.
Ocean State Aquatics in Rhode Island, and also you're representing Fritz.
Yes, because we do all the R&D work for Fritz, and I do product development for Fritz too on future products that have been coming out over the last year and products lines that's down the line.
So like I said in the last live, if you have any questions for either of us, please feel free to ask those, and we'll try our best to answer. We're going to have a conversation about this new world that we're in right now. But first, I wanted to get your gauge. You've walked around here, so what's your favorite thing, or what do you think is the coolest feature of Aquashella?
Right now, my favorite is this year, the Aquascape section. We're seeing right here in the middle, massive Aquascape section with some really cool modern styles. And I'm loving it. I'm telling you, nano tanks are coming back. Even in the reef tank industry, it is cool to have a 10, a 20, in all-in-one tanks are like on fire. Everybody's got an all-in-one tank now.
Yeah. We just talked about my 2.5 gallon Pico macro algae tank that I've got, and you're right. I think those small tanks that you can just set up on your desk and just kind of glance over while you're doing all your work, because a lot of people are still home, or companies have realized that leasing out a giant office space is just not feasible anymore.
Doesn't make sense.
So, there's a lot of hybrid schedules, a lot of people spending more time at home, doing 2 or 3 days a week. So you want to supplement your house with a cool reef tank or a cool freshwater tank.
I think that's the best thing, right? So we see these big monster tanks, right? And everyone sees those. But yet again, the coolest tanks are these 10 gallons. You take that, you get a 10 gallon, you get yourself whatever you like. I like AI Primes. That's a personal favorite of mine. You put an AI Prime on there, and you're playing with some gadgets, because there's so many gadgets out there, and the tank looks awesome. And especially frags, right? Our frags, aquaculture frags, are now the strongest it's ever been in aquaculture fish, which are a lot of the smaller fish. And think about it, you get this 10 gallon tank, which is, we're always taught 10 gallons, 20 gallons, hardest to do tanks, and they come out awesome. You're like, now I want to do a bigger tank.
Bring on the 700 gallon, let's go. So Scott, you are at all these shows, you're representing Fritz, but you're also, let's talk about Ocean State Aquatics first, because Ocean State Aquatics, you're coming up on, you've gotten a little nostalgic on your Instagram page as of late, where 9 years ago, right?
9 years ago.
Is when this all started. So take me through, where this vision started and then where you're at now, because I know you've got a warehouse, you've got a freshwater store, you've got a farm, you've got the retail store. So take us from the beginning.
It's not ever what you think it's going to turn into is not what it turns into. I feel like that's not anything. We originally started spare bedroom of my apartment. I had big, XDH containers you buy at Home Depot with aerators on it, and started selling fish online. That's what we were doing. And that was the start of it. Then we rented a small little in the basement of a building, and we started selling more fish online. Long story short, that basement flooded in the middle of the winter. I lost everything. It was so painful. And then I realized that week later, I got my first service account, and it's been just going from there. And then you're growing to the next building, and then the next building. And then we finally bought this building, the big Coventry location, which was about 5,000 square feet. Right when the pandemic started, and it's been absolutely amazing, being able to grow a company from 2 coral frag tables to what it is now, and I'm just grateful. And it's the help, it's the team, right? You can't do everything yourself. It's the team, the people that put all the work in there for you, and the people that believe in you, and they want to help you and be part of something that wants to succeed.
I want to ask you about your decision-making process, because I saw that you were still moving forward with that new location in the middle of a pandemic, and a lot of people are like, "What are you doing, Scott?" What's your mentality on going in and taking a risk like that?
Oh man, I'm the worst person to talk to about this, because if you ask Peter Cherick or these other guys, he makes no sense what he does. I saw that. It's just, I literally go by what I truly believe in, and we were just doing so well, and I don't care. It's my dream. Hopes, dreams. I am living my dream. I get to do what I love every day, and I don't want to stop. I don't ever want to go back to the real world, ever. I never want to do that. So I will do whatever it takes to never have to go back to the real world. And I'm grateful that I get to do this, and I don't want to stop. And I love our team that we create, and I love everybody that becomes a part of the team, and I love people that come in, and I'm grateful for every day.
I love that. That mentality, I think, is something that not a lot of people have. They want to have that. They want to be able to follow dreams. They want to be able to go along that path, but instead they're stuck in whatever office job, or they're stuck in a miserable job that they don't want to be in. So I think you're living proof that, if you follow your heart, you follow those good vibes, that you can pretty much do anything.
I think so, and I mean, you're gonna have like these super downs where it's like, oh, this is awesome, crash and burn, oh, we're going back up, here we go, and we're cruising, and that is to me what makes the whole thing. But it's amazing when you have people that support you and they stick by you, and then you're gonna have a lot of people that are like, what are you doing? You're out of your mind, and they're not really supporting you. And then when they do at the end, like, yo, I thought you were gonna eat it. I really did. And they're like, you're doing all right. All right, let's get going.
Yeah, it's always fun at the end of that when you can tell those people, look where I'm at now. So, well, I appreciate you taking risks, because I love talking about your store on my YouTube channel. I love seeing the growth. As far as Fritz is concerned, I mean, you kind of hopped on board in a non-traditional way by coming up with a product, and then Fritz got on board with that product. Can you take us through how that happened?
I came up with Max Outline. The Max Outline was actually a team effort between my buddy.
What is the Max Outline?
All right, so anyone that doesn't know the Max Out, and you should know about the Max Outline if you don't know about that. Max Out is filter media. It's high-end organic scavenger resin, high-capacity carbon, and a phosphated media. It's different ways of really ultimate cleanliness to your tank. When you're in a service company, when you're basing everything on service to give people the cleanest tanks, that's how we built it. We wanted people to have the cleanest tanks the best way we could, and that's what Max Out was based on. And then we started selling it privately, and it kind of just kept built up and more. And, I got to say, Sean Hale came up. He really supported the product, and a bunch of the other guys did too, and they wanted me to be part of the Fritz team. And honestly, I love all those guys from Fritz. They've done a lot of good work with them before, and they've helped me out, so I was all for it. I went all in.
So you've got, what is it, Max Out, Fuzz Out?
Yeah.
What's that product line?
So you got Max Out, which is the OG. That's the organic scavenger resin with a high capacity carbon. So like, that's if your tank looks good, right? But you want ultimate clarity of the tank, or you want to take out organics, heavy organics, like you're having a cyanobacteria problem. You're having too much excess organics, but not really having a phosphate issue. You're not really having algae on the glass. That's what that product is. Or you use it on freshwater or saltwater. When we have the Pro we're adding now a phosphate media reducer on, so anyone that's really having those problems with, like, you're starting to get some algae across the glass, you get some diatoms and things like that. And then the Fuzz Out was designed for the so dreaded hair algae. Oh, it's the worst. The only thing is with Fuzz Out, right? I'd like to tell you guys, there's a magic product out there that's just gonna go poof, and your hair algae is going to be going. It is not going to work that way. I'm sorry, it's not going to work that way. And what it does is it drops your phosphates quick and fast, and then this way here, it gives you an opportunity to catch up on the problem, so you can get moving to get rid of any sort of hair algae you have.
Yeah, and that's the truth with hair algae. When it comes to any kind of nuisance algae or pest, there's going to be a little bit of manual labor that's included in that. You're going to have to manually remove some of that stuff yourself, because these things are not used to being in such a small environment. So when we take these things from, whether it's aquaculture to their wild or whatever, and put them in a little tiny tank, you're going to have some outbreaks like that. But thankfully, there's products like Fuzz Out that will help mitigate that, get it under control.
Yeah, and that's even the thing, like right now in the new world, like our hobby, our industry, our world is changing so quick and so fast. We're learning better ways of doing everything. Like right now, conservation in the aquarium industry is the highest it's ever been. Nobody is like, oh, let's go take everything out of the wild and put it in a tank. No, we don't think that way anywhere. Nobody does. Everyone's all about aquaculture and moving forward with any sort of captive breeding efforts. And that's what we love. I love seeing newer tech. We all do. Newer tech, newer styles of doing this, medications that have gotten better, and to keep moving forward in the hobby.
Yeah. Tell us about, so you've got the retail store and then you've got the farm. Tell us about, because just to bounce off the aquaculture, I mean, you see that's a necessity in this hobby now, especially if you own a local fish store, having that farm, that aquaculture element. Kind of take us through that.
That's opening Pandora's box, right? So how I feel and how everyone else feels is a different story, right? The entire built on the OSA is true sustainability, right? Is the freshwater aquarium industry, super sustainable. No question in if that's about it. The freshwater guys are absolutely amazing at it, and you're talking about over 12 million people into freshwater fish in the U.S., never mind throughout the entire world. Saltwater is still growing. It's about a 2.5 million people in the U.S., and as we go, but we want to move forward with aquaculture because it's what we truly believe in. We want to be able to, on corals, frags, be able to take those corals, microfrag them, and keep it going. And if you ever had aquaculture corals or frags, which now most of you guys have, they grow so well. They do well. They're successful with it. There's nothing worse than somebody buying a brand new tank, getting all this money, and now they have no experience with it, and they get everything going, what they think is right, and all of a sudden they start losing. This is dying, no. First, nobody wants to see it die, right? That's the worst thing ever, having that responsibility on you. And on top of it, it's so frustrating. If that happens to you, the first thing you're gonna say is, never buy a saltwater fish tank and throw that thing away, and you're going to tell your friends not to get one too.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want. That's the worst thing for the hobby. But the sustainability right now is unbelievable. And we're just we were just touching the iceberg on saltwater. Like, we're just touching the iceberg. Now we're seeing more and more people have farms that they're growing corals in, and it's only going to keep on building from there.
Yeah, so farms and people that buy aquacultured items, everybody always asks me what's the easiest coral to start with, and I always tell them it doesn't really matter what it is as long as it's been aquacultured. If it's been in the hobby for a long time, I'm talking to like your bird's nests, your zoanthids, your leathers, those things that have been in the hobby and have done well in the hobby for a long time, those are going to be good ones to start with. I would try and stray away from anything that has just come fresh in from the wild, because you just don't know. You don't know what's on that. So that's what I always tell people when we go with any kind of beginner corals. And as far as fish is concerned, there are breeding programs now to the likes we've never seen before. We're talking angelfish and tangs and all of that.
It's definitely the best it's ever been. Is it perfect yet? No, not even close. But it is no question about it, moving in the right direction. We're moving forward. We don't go backwards, right? We're moving forward. And some of these, like with everything going on with the newer regulations, I'm not like the guy that's going to say, oh, I'm anti that. I'm not. I am actually okay with it, because I feel like it is, unless you're forced to do something, unless you're forced to make it, some people are just not going to do it, right? So now it's forcing you to move forward.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to have to look at that when it comes to all those, like the tangs, the yellow tangs that are being bred in captivity. There's some things to work out there. I mean, it's not the wild. Clownfish, I feel like we have down.
Clownfish we have down. Clownfish we got down.
So many different flavors of clownfish that you could ever want, designer and the like. But the angelfish thing is pretty interesting to me too. There's the masked angelfish, which is basically a white angelfish with kind of a black face on it. I mean, before and still they're pretty expensive, but at the same time, now we're not having to take them from the wild, because we can breed them in captivity, and those are like $10,000 fish a piece.
Yeah.
So it's pretty expensive, but you have people that are willing to go through all of the experimentation to make that happen, and I think that's not only do we have hobbyists here, right? But you have hobbyists that are curious on how they can progress the hobby.
Correct. And actually, that's one of my favorite things about, honestly, social media. Social media has changed the game, and that's why we're moving quicker, faster than things. You are able to now watch your favorite YouTuber, Instagram, or anything like that, and you're able to follow them. I got guys like Dustin behind me. I've watched so many of these guys that evolved as we watch, and I've learned how to do things at a faster rate because I watched them make mistakes that I didn't have to make, which I would normally have to do in that process.
Yeah.
So think about how many kids are watching this, or people want to get into this industry or move forward with this industry. Now you're just creating it bigger and bigger, and you're making this pie so much bigger with more and more people. I think the real game changer is going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I personally do not think I'm going to open up such Pandora's box on this one. I do not think truly sustainable. Oh God, I'm going to open up Pandora's box. With that, we should be collecting fish from the wild on salt water. I mean, within range, in 10 years from now. I think that we will go mostly aquaculture, which we should. And even on fish collections, I also do not feel like we should collect fish from this. We should have certain designated areas at certain times of the areas, because I'm not against it. And it should be more practical. It should be more sustainable to keep it moving forward, because it's a give and take. You can't give without taking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So a lot of the local fish stores that we have in this room, only have saltwater or only have freshwater. What's it like having both a saltwater retail store and a freshwater retail store?
It's awesome. That's all I can really say about that. Now, I love diversity, and I love both. Like, I love saltwater, and I love freshwater, and I love them both for two different ways. Saltwater, like, why do you like saltwater? Saltwater is for the guy that wants to be the tech guy, the ultimate experience, wants to be able to. You can never master it. I don't care how good you are. You can never master salt water, and I like that. And I like the fact that when you think it's going great, it's like curveball, woo, sideways, and that's what always happens. Freshwater, I feel like, is for the person that wants to get into it, can play around, more captive breeding, where they can breed it right there in the house, keep efforts going, and also you can go two different ways. Now, on the other way, I can get someone that's never done freshwater tank that wants a tank that's bright, vibrant, and it's, you know, in your face with these bright, nice white light colors with the deep greens. That's very like the aquascaping, and you just look at that and you're like, wow, this is awesome. And that is the calming effect, where saltwater is more like, I love the flow of the corals. Like, I'm not a sick guy. I will always be an LPS guy, because there's nothing cool when you see Euophilia just falling back and forth torches, and I love that. I love the diversity.
I actually, and chat, if you think I should go to freshwater, because I don't have any freshwater tanks in my house, and I used to have, like, I think most people get into saltwater through freshwater, but I don't know why freshwater intimidates me so much now. It's so weird, because I feel like there's a lot more stuff that goes into saltwater. No offense, freshwater. But everybody in freshwater is like, it's so easy. Why wouldn't you just have a freshwater tank too? So when you have someone that is like a client, one of your customers that's like, I'm a freshwater person, I would like to go to saltwater, or vice versa, how do you lead them down that path?
Yo, it depends. All right, so this is right. This is where you have to, like, I know it's going to sound, all right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I sound crazy out there, right? This is what I also have to do. When someone comes up to me, everyone always wants a saltwater tank. They start off like, I want a saltwater tank. You have to decide in that 5-10 minutes of talking to them if that person can truly devoted to a saltwater tank, right? Because I have to play long term. I'm playing the long-term goal. I don't want the short-term goal. I don't want to just sell them a tank. They realize how expensive it gets into. Now it's a massive problem. They can't do it, and these animals are dying. I have to be like, okay, can this person really devote this much time, get into it? So first thing, I'm like, all right, how much time do you want to spend into it? Are you ready to do water testing all the time? Are you ready to do this? Are you ready to do that? And then if, like, yes, I want a hobby that I can dive into. I want to be obsessive with it. I want it to be epic. I'll be like, all right, maybe saltwater is for you, like, and that's what I gotta do. Freshwater is if you wanna tip your toe in, tippity tip, right? And you wanna learn it, and you gotta start them off, and then from there they can do a freshwater tank. They can learn on it, and they, from that point, can then choose, once they're really cranking, whether they want to move more forward with the freshwater or they want to go to saltwater. And I'm telling you, freshwater now is epic. Like, and you guys out there that watch Green Aqua, like, in this room, the amount of aquascapists we have in here is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to be able to see where the industry has gone. So, I mean, I'm a saltwater guy, but I love, Peter Cherk always says it, I'm a saltwater guy, but I'm really a freshwater guy. Like, yeah. I love this, and I'm grateful for it.
The freshwater representation here is pretty amazing, and I think it's the OSA booth. I know there's a lot of freshwater people in the chat right now, but the cool hands-on, like, aquascaping tutorials that they have over there, it almost kind of looks like the old school Apple store when everybody's learning how to work the iPhone. Everybody's there, and they're just kind of like in this presentation, and I feel like the aquascaping tools are so much cooler in the freshwater side, long scissors and all that kind of stuff.
It's pretty awesome. It's like the versus a reef. Like, even like on a reef tank, right? Aquascape tanks are more based on, obviously, the aquascapes, the plants, right?
Yeah.
Reef tanks are based on the corals. But you're not going to have, like, so many fish in a reef tank. You're going to have more coral. Why? Because the coral's awesome. Same thing with the aquascape tank. The plants, the sand, the look is awesome.
Yeah. It's super inspiring. I feel like if you ever are feeling uninspired, or you hit that plateau in the hobby, which I've come across a couple times, if you go to a show like this, you're back in. Like, hands down, you get pumped back up again because you get re-inspired by all the new tech and all the new things and tanks that you see, and I feel like it's so awesome that there isn't just the mixed reef tank. There's just an SPS tank, or a macroalgae display tank, or you could just do a fish-only tank.
how cool right now the macro only display tanks. Like, that is going to be hot. I'm telling you, everybody's going to want one of those. I'm like, I want a 10-gallon of that. I kind of want a Condolactus right now. I don't even know, but I now want this. I want a Condi, and I would never want a Condi before, but I want one now. You know?
Yeah. Well, they have a saltwater planted tank in the OSA booth. And it's funny because people are going by and they're like, I've never seen these plants before. What are these plants? And it's macroalgae, and it's a saltwater tank, but it looks like it's a freshwater tank. And I think that there's so many people on the freshwater side that are kind of seeing that now. And wait, I can do kind of a freshwater planted in the saltwater space too, and get all these cool inverts like pom-pom crabs and peppermint shrimp and all of those cool inverts. So I think it's fun for this mixed event because there's so many shows out there that are just devoted to freshwater, just devoted to saltwater, and you can kind of intermingle those. I mean, we're all friends for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah, those freshwater people are a little weird. No, I'm just joking.
You know what I like right now, too? I don't know if you guys are into it. My favorite thing right now in the hobby is how popular rimless tanks have gotten. Because here you're seeing epic saltwater rimless tanks, and right in front of us, Tanner did this epic freshwater with all these cool plants coming up out of them. Don't worry, you can go back and check it out. But it's just awesome seeing two different ways, almost the same style tank, and it's like, this is awesome either way.
I love seeing guys like Tanner here. I did watch that live where it's like a massive like tree trunk in the tank. So that I think that's actually on this channel. So if you get a chance, go back and watch that. But seeing like Tanner here and seeing all the creators here, Tank Tested is here.
Yep.
He's got an amazing setup at his place with custom aquariums. It's just fun to see everybody's different style, and I think that's probably the main thing out of all of this is that everybody has their own way to do similar things. You know what I mean? It's like a math problem. There's 1,400 ways to get to the same answer. But those ways are all different, the way different people do
It's
them.
crazy you say that because that's what makes the industry, right? That's totally what makes the industry. You guys remember the old school guys? I had this old school guy, George, I'll never forget the thing, and he was keeping fish in 5-gallon buckets with sponge filters, and that's how this guy kept the pistogrammas. And yet again, that's like where we came from. Like, that was like the start. And it's like, tank can either have nothing in it, and you got awesome fish in it, because like we see like different style markets, like JDM styles, where it's just a lot of fish, but the tank's just glass all the bottom, and maybe it's even like ceramic tile on the bottom, or it's this full aquascape. It is crazy how you can get to where you want to go, but you've got 1,000 lineups.
Yeah. Well, man, Scott, this has been so much fun to hang out. I'm not sure if there's someone that can end the live down there, but we can continue talking until someone does. But if you have any questions, I know that I think it's, do you say it, Asaya? Said, loving the frequent lives. This is something that I've wanted from Aquashella for years now. Ever since it started, I feel like there's so many people that can't be here and suffer from the FOMO. And so giving them just a way to hang out with people, even if you're a freshwater person, hanging out with us salty people, I guess you're kind of mixed, but hanging out with people at this booth is just a lot of fun. All the fish tubers are here. And this has been a blast so far, I would say. And your energy is infectious.
Listen, guys, it's not like this all the time. Ask him, okay? It is literally, I go ups and downs. I'm like, okay, up, now we're back down. It's okay. It's not that. We just have a good time. I get to do what I love every single day. And when I do these trade shows, it's very cool to be surrounded by people, that also love this. The biggest thing is, how do you explain to your friends, all right, about your industry, or you're like your parents or whoever, and then you just look at you and you're like, you have fish?
Yeah.
I don't quite understand this.
It's impossible.
And that's
it's
just one of the things that we run into, but it doesn't matter. Sharing those experiences with other people, I absolutely love it.
My whole channel.
I just see Peter Cherrick yelling at me. He's going 2. I don't know what he's thinking to me. 20 minutes. Don't worry.
Plenty of time. My whole brand was started because of those conversations that weren't going well with friends and family. You start talking about coral to people and you're like, dude, I got anemones in my basement. I'm talking about hammer and torch and all these different euphilia, LPS, SPS, softies, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I made up this random Instagram channel. It's Bahama Llama Coral, and that's when I just started posting stuff, and I was like, oh, there's a community out here for it. Let's do more.
Okay, so you guys that don't know, I've been watching Remy for a while now. I got to meet him. Aquashella Chicago. Was it the first one or the second one when we finally met?
I think it was the second
It
one.
might have been the second one,
Yeah.
right? And then he comes out with the YouTube channel. But the first one, you got like his voice is like that epic voice, like you always hear, and like, oh my god, I want like a movie with him, like background character inside this. Like this is awesome. And then watching the YouTube channels and a lot. There's a lot of YouTube channels in the saltwater, but there's not at the same time. When I say that, there's not people doing the stuff that you're kind of doing. It was showing, going to a trade show, I'm bringing this back up, I'm dragging this. You're kind of getting a mix of every which direction you're pulling it in, and I love like watching the growth. Think about where you did from the first couple videos to where it is now.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? I know I'm switching this right now,
That's
but
fine.
where do you think you're gonna take it now? Like, where do you think you're gonna go in 5 years from now?
I don't know. So my day job is radio, and I don't know how often everybody in chat listens to terrestrial radio, but it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know where the channel goes in 5 years. I like what I'm doing now because I have a mix of what my full-time job,
Yep.
which I love, and I also have a mix of this part-time hobby thing that I've got too. So I get the best of both worlds.
How's it been now that you've been able to travel too? Because now, like, this was the biggest thing for me, right? I was stuck in a box. I know that sounds weird, but I was only in my hometown. I didn't really leave anywhere. I didn't do nothing. And then when I was able to really, truly travel around the country to see different stores, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care who you are or anything else. If you're out there, travel as much as possible because you'll learn so much. And you don't think about that, but you'll come back home and you'll just mindset learn a ton of information for your future.
Yeah.
And now you're able to travel. How does it feel seeing like different stores? Do you rethink about how you do things now?
Oh yeah, I mean there's so much of that. I mean, you live in Rhode Island, I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and I don't think at any other point would we really be together unless you came to me or I came to
Yep.
you, or would we ever know about each other. So I think that these conventions and, like you said, social media have connected us on such a deep level. I mean, I'm literally in this booth. There is like, I don't know, 15 freshwater influencers just like hanging out. Like Rob's down here from Flip Aquatics. Brett Raymer's here from Tanked, the
Yeah.
TV show. Like it's fun to see everybody and everybody's got, again, going back, their own method to getting to their results. So it's fun to share with that with
I
people.
love it.
And I think those conversations with non-reef people, non-coral people, helped push me in that other direction to find people for that community, and then you just build on that.
I absolutely agree with you. I think you're absolutely right, and you're building on, and you're finding out different people. Like I don't know if you guys out there, but like you have somebody that always gets you into the hobby too. Like you see it, or you have a buddy that gets you in, or if you're in it, you get someone else into it,
Yeah.
and it's very infectious. Like
Yeah.
and I love it, and I don't care. I want to be able to do it forever, and I know that sounds weird, but I get to do what I love every day, and I'm grateful for it. But I always love aquariums. I don't want to do this when it's not fun anymore. When like if this becomes miserable, like don't get me wrong, it's still work, but it's not. I love what I do every day, so like it's awesome, and I still like I want to have a big tank one day. I don't even have one because I'm waiting for the right moment when I can finally do it.
Finally pull the trigger on the 1,000-gallon aquarium.
Not that big. That's a
You
little
could-
too big.
Well, eventually you'll build a house around the tank, right? Put the tank in the middle of the house, and then just build everything around that.
I would love to build. I know it's gonna sound crazy. Oh god, I say this all the time. I would love to build almost like a private public aquarium. If I could pull that off, like people like, if you made a lot of money, what would you do? Like I would like to build another store, maybe another one after that. But really, what I'm just trying to do is fund my own personal private like aquarium. Like I
Yeah.
would love like to bring the public in, and then we'd have to do something else. Like I'm talking about a full-blown gift shop. You walk in, there's a gift shop. I want to put in like it'd be awesome.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys in the industry. I forget his name, but he's got that. I think it's like a 22,000-gallon aquarium in his house or something. And when they built the house around,
It's
and
awesome.
He scuba dives in it.
It's the
Got to
best.
clean the tank, right? So you got to get in it.
Those guys on MFK, on Awesome Fish Keepers, those guys they go all out.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can keep any of that stuff. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
True diehards. You guys
Well-
are beautiful.
Yes, you are. You are beautiful. And there's a lot of people in the chat saying, basically, thank you for the live streams. And I think that that's awesome that we're doing this now. This will get better and better. This is the trial run. on this this whole streaming setup. So with every Aquashella, they will get better and better, just as everything in this room has. The Aqua Crib is crazy this year. There are bubbles filled with smoke. It looks like you're walking through the movie Avatar. It's kind of like if you've been to Disney, if you've been to Animal Kingdom and walked around Animal Kingdom in the Pandora area.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that in the Aqua Crib. So kudos to everybody, all the artists like Bombshell.
I mean, these guys put in so much work.
Yeah.
So much work. Like, guys, they're here till 3 o'clock in the morning Friday. Like, you know, people are going out. They're here working this up. Like, and the Aqua Crib that they created, it always gets better and better every time, right? But the one they did for this show is no question about it, like my favorite. And I've seen every single one. Is the best one.
Yep.
The ponds the Aquascape guys did is insane. The guys at Tank It Easy built these cool looking L-shaped, like narrow tanks for all done in acrylic. They did a great job, and just all the artists putting all that work and time and devotion into it. It's just cool, and it's just being a part of it. Like, I don't know. Like, I know it's like world changing. Like, the Aquashellas were the first time that we could bring a mix to the entire industry. Like, there was other shows, but not like this, where it's entertaining, it's fun, and especially if you're a guy, right? Or anybody, you have a passion, right? You want to go to the show, and you're trying to get family members to go, and they're like, I don't want to go see fish. Like, I get that, but now you can get them to go in, and you can have fun for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, there's kids to be entertained. Everybody can be entertained.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to.
Kids loved the Aqua Crib, and they also got an area for the kids, which I think is a pretty unique feature for any convention to have. So, Scott, want to thank you so much for coming. And being a guest on the stream, and we really appreciate it. We'll try and keep these going throughout the rest of the day. A lot of people that you watch on YouTube, or a lot of the businesses that are here, a lot of the big brands that are here, will be interviews on here today and tomorrow. So, Scott, again, thank you. Where can everybody find you?
Oh, you guys, you can check us out on Ocean State Aquatics TV. If you got YouTube, send back on over there, or you can just find us at the store. So we got a store in Coventry, Rhode Island, and we also got one in Seekonk, Massachusetts. Make sure you check it out, and on Facebook at OSA Aquarium Superstores. I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving you to this guy.
All right.
Walk out.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate your help. Thank you.